Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie. This is going to be a little bit of a project that I decided to do. I'm going to read all of the Hunger Game books to include the newest release that came out, The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. But I wanted to do a full reread of the series. I devoured these books when I first read them, and it was only after I finished watching Catching Fire as the theatrical movie that I was like, I gotta know what's gonna happen next. And then I went and devoured all the books and things like that. So I've heard mixed reviews already about this, so I want to kind of jump on and see where I fall when it comes to The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I'm going to reread all of the books. So that's Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and then I'm going to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And then, because this series gets compared to The Hunger Games plus The Bachelor, which I don't watch. I don't watch The Bachelor, but I figured I do like reality TV shows, kind of like that, sort of. Not The Bachelor, not The Bachelorette, but I like those sort of reality TV shows. So I'm gonna also read the Selection series, which is The Selection, The Elite, The One, The Heir, and The Crown. There are some extra novellas and things like that that I may add on here, but it depends on how long this takes me to read these 9 books, first of all. So I hope you guys are ready for the ride. I'm going to only give you guys reactions after I finish a book, or after I finish a couple books. No long montages in between, because I don't know how long this is going to take me to do. So hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get into the Hunger Games, and may the odds forever be in your favor. Alrighty, so I have finished The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, book number 1 in this series, and I must say that Katniss was really a bitch through much of this story, and I still really enjoyed it. I started to see parallels within some of the social commentary that was given throughout the story that I didn't see the first time around of me reading it. I read it purely for enjoyment of the story before, and since reading it, I have now, you know, I guess broadened my reader mind to start to pick out some of the social commentary that comes when it comes to reading my books of fiction, even if they're romantic or if they're adventurous, like this one being science fiction, teen YA and things like that. You can still see some of the author's sort of social commentary on how the characters act and how the world is around them, and I really sort of enjoyed that. This book, I think I will probably be giving like 4.25 stars to 2.5 stars, or 4.5 stars. Blech, sorry about that. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and I am about to watch the movie at this point to see, because there was some things in the book that I had completely forgot about, and now I'll be watching the movie to see how those differences are, and I will let you guys know what my feelings are at the end of the movie. So we'll see you then. Alrighty, so I have just finished the movie The Hunger Games, and I must say, even watching it right after reading the book, I really enjoyed the differences that they took and the changes that they made within the story. I liked that even though I'm not too partial to this whole love triangle that they're trying to make, because the love triangle was never there. Even in the books, it wasn't there. I didn't really like that aspect of the movie. Their little flashbacks to Gale and things like that. I was like, that's not needed. You could truly feel the tension and love growing between Katniss and Peeta in the movie, and I thought that was I thought it was perfect. I thought that was great. And, you know, I liked the other aspects of the movie that were changed. It's very apparent what social sort of topics Suzanne Collins was writing about, especially with the distinctions in visual for the lower, I guess, districts, 10, 11, and 12, who lives there, things like that. When Rue dies, you know, there's a riot and they use water hoses and things like that. Similar things to what they used during the Civil Rights Movement. And it was just so many parallels in his President Snow's speech during that whole scene was just, whew. It was a little more impactful after reading the book and then immediately watching the book to see how the adaptation switched over. So the next thing I'll be doing is reading Catching Fire, which is book number 2, and I am super excited about that. I will give you an update about my feelings about the book, and then I will watch the movie, and I will give you feelings about the changes that were made, because I do remember there are a lot of changes that are made for Catching Fire. I think. Doing a video vlog like this kind of helps, you know, keep things in your memory. The movie, of course, I'm going to give it an A. I mean, I thought it was beautiful, and the music was great, and the way that they told the story, they took out some of the nonsense that wasn't needed. I like the fact that we weren't completely in Katniss's head. She came across a little softer in the movie than she did in the books. In the books, you were completely in her head and from her perspective the entire book. Whereas the movie, you got to see what everyone else around her was feeling, as well as sort of the reactions to the things that she was feeling. So I really enjoyed that. So we will see you guys after the next book. Alrighty, folks, I am reading Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins, which is book number 2 in the Hunger Games series. I went and had my nails done. Yes, so happy about that. But wow, I just started, and I figured I'd pop on because they are really laying out where the love triangle sort of came from in the beginning of Catching Fire. And I didn't remember that. I was like, I could never understand where this whole love triangle thing came from in Hunger Games until I started reading Catching Fire again for the second time. And now I see, because Katniss, you know, she was friends with Gale, but they didn't want Gale to be perceived as a, you know, competitor to Peeta, and they had to make him a cousin so she couldn't be seen with him, and, you know, like, they were romantic and things like that. And I just didn't realize that that had happened. I have gotten to the scene where Gale ends up kissing her, and she is like feeling some way but doesn't know exactly which way she's feeling, especially since she is just talking to President Snow about the whole you need to convince me, being President Snow, that you really are in love with Peeta, and that wasn't just some ploy to make sure that you both won the Hunger Games that you just did. So yeah, I just thought I'd pop on and be like, you know, let you guys know that I've had that realization. It was like, wow, I didn't realize that the love triangle actually came from the books and not from the screenwriters for the movies. Yeah. I still don't buy it, though. I like Peeta and Katniss together. They seem to fit much better. Even though they go through some things later on, they fit better. Yay! just from the first book. I think they fit better. You didn't hear about Gale. I mean, you knew that he was her buddy that went hunting with her, but you didn't have that connection, or I didn't feel the connection between her and Gale as I felt with her and Peeta, even before the games, when she was doing her flashbacks of him giving her bread and, you know, things like that. So, yeah, that was a logical play on his part, befriending and falling in love with her, or acting on his crush that he had. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next clip. Hey guys, so I just finished reading Catching Fire, which is book 2 in the Hunger Games series, and wow, I completely forgot about so many things that happened in this one. And I think I said in my last clip, I had gotten to the part where there was a clear love triangle that was put into the book, and now I see where everyone's love triangle thing came from, and yeah, it continued on. I did not realize that Katniss talked so much about Gale throughout this book, and you know, had the mixed feelings between the two of them. I definitely think she should have just stuck with Peeta, period, because but yeah, it was interesting. And then on top of that, listening to this book while the world is burning, it has just been super crazy. So many parallels to the things that are going on in this book that are going on in the world right now. And I just, it's hard to take. It is hard to take. I might do a completely separate video of that because I'm just so up in the air about my different feelings and things like that. But, after I do a drive-by graduation for my son and his friends, I will come back and I will be watching the movie Catching Fire, and then I will come back to you guys and give you a clip on it. But yeah, definitely saw so many new things in this one that I hadn't seen the first time, or maybe I did see them the first time and I'm just not remembering them. And that brings me to the point that sometimes it's good to do a reread of a book that you thought was amazing, and I actually still think this one was amazing, even though that cliffhanger ending is definitely a reason why I like devoured the series and devoured the movies, because I'm pretty sure that's how the movie ends as well. But we will see how I feel about that after I watch the movie in a little bit. But yeah, that it's so crazy, so crazy right now. Just, yeah. All right, folks, I have just finished watching the movie Catching Fire, adaptation of the book Catching Fire, which is book number 2 in the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. And oh my God, I am so speechless. Now I remember why I was so set on picking up the books after I finished watching this movie, because it's a heart-pounding movie. It's emotional. That first 30 minutes of it when they're doing the victory tour, and all the people that were just portrayed in it, District 11, and that old man sending the tribute for Rue, and just so many emotions right now are running through my being. And I so want to pick up the first part of freaking Mockingjay, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to restrain. I'm going to read the book first and then watch the movies like I'm supposed to. But I am just so... They took all of the key moments from Catching Fire, the books, and put them in this movie. And I have got to give major props to the screenwriters for picking the best parts of that second book to keep you engaged in the book, to keep you emotionally connected with Peeta, with Katniss, even with Gale, I mean, the movies portrayed this love triangle so much more than the books ever did. Because I understood her talking about Gale and things like that in the books, but to see it played out in the movies, you felt how torn Katniss was between Gale and her love for Gale and her love for Peeta in the movies. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Once again, screenwriters did an amazing job. And just all of the emotions that went with all of the other characters. I mean, that Cinna scene. Oh, whew. This whole movie just has me all of my emotions. I mean, I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm going to go get into Mockingjay, the book, so that I can finish up this vlog and get you guys more emotions and get you guys more accounts of what I'm feeling as I'm reading this very, very relevant, so relevant story right now. Oh my goodness. The world's on fire and just oof. I don't know if this is a good time to do this, but it just so many emotions. Just so much. I don't know what to do with myself. Hi guys, so well, not really just, I had to take some time to decompress. Finished Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, which is the third book in the Hunger Games series and the conclusion of Peeta and Katniss and everyone that was involved in the Hunger Games and how things happen, everything that happened after the 75th Hunger Games, the third quarter quell, and I was going to stop reading at part 2, but then I went past it a little more and realized that I wasn't sure exactly where the movie broke, so I just went ahead and finished the entire book. I am going to start the movies now, which should take me probably till the end of the night. Being that it's 2 movies, 2 hours long, so that's 4 hours worth of movie watching that I'll be doing. Yeah, so I had to decompress. I had to really come up with my thoughts and everything like that, because I started this vlog last week, before all the rioting and the looting and all of the public protests and things like that. And I had to take a couple days for myself to really sort of be in, you know, in my feelings, in my thoughts, and sort of find my place. I mean, I talked about it a little bit in my weekly wrap-up a couple Sundays ago. By the time you guys see this, it might be like 2 or 3 Sundays. If I remember, I'll try and link it in the cards so that you can see my thoughts for then. And it just sort of went downhill from there. I lost motivation. I hadn't taken a shower until I just finished this one or finished this book, and went ahead and took a shower so I didn't look crazy on camera or anything like that. So yeah, it's so hard because there are people out there that are born to be activists, and not everyone is born to be an activist. Just because someone doesn't publicly speak out and go to protests and you know, voice their opinions, because we're such a social media world now where everything is done on camera of some sort, on your phone, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Instagram. If you're not posting something about your feelings or things like that, you sit back and you read even if you're a part of that community, those communities, and the generalization that goes on because you either don't post or you don't voice your opinion or anything like that, it's very line drawn, and it's so frustrating, and it is so just heartbreaking for me. And it just it doesn't help me. So yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. I probably made no sense with that whatsoever, and I'm completely off the topic of Mockingjay. So in rereading Mockingjay, I found so many parallels to what is going on today in the world along with this book. And it's interesting that I also saw tweets, and mostly tweets on Twitter, about how people want to condemn readers that find the parallels, that are comparing the books The Hunger Games to what we are currently in. And I have a hard time with that, because was it Suzanne Collins's place to put those parallels into her books? I can't say yes or no, but it's also interesting that she foreshadowed this into a story, and now it is coming to fruition and things are happening very similarly to the things that happened in the Hunger Games. And to not be able to recognize and, see those parallels, it's like, why not? Why not? And I'm not saying that, it was the greatest thing, it's the greatest thing ever, but damn, the parallels are ridiculously close. And it's just so interesting. I mean, I challenge you to go back and reread. Put on the lens of anger that you have right now and reread this series and not see the parallels. It would be mind-boggling. It really would. I think any reader, taking the news and then reading these books would be like, oh shit, wow, these parallels are ridiculous. And it's just, I don't know. It's hard when people generalize how a whole community should feel, or an entire race should feel, or thought process should be, or how you should be acting or voicing your opinion, or vocalizing your thought process. Not everyone is that out there advocate. Like I said in the beginning of this clip, not everyone is a born activist. There are people that, will help and create awareness on their own. And I have so many years of sort of, I guess you could say, putting that blinder on, being part of the systemic racism. I mean, I always knew that I had to do it better. Always. That was one of the things that I had to grow up with. You got to do it better because you're black, because you're a woman. Everything you do, everything in life, I had to do it better. Had to be cleaner at it. Had to be more on the nose on it. And don't let them, don't show that aggressive side of yourself. Don't be too loud. Don't be, just the stereotypical black person. I mean, I had to unlearn all those things that were placed into my head. And figure out which ones I had to do, which ones I didn't have to do, which ones I had to push the envelopes on, and which battles to fight. So, with that said, I'm going to go watch the movies now so that I can give you guys a comparison. And, yeah. So this vlog has taken a completely different feel. So I don't even know how I'm going to put it together. We'll see. See you guys after the movie. Alrighty, folks. So I just finished watching Mockingjay Part 1 of the Hunger Games on the movie. And yeah, wow. So many things to dissect, I guess. You can definitely see in the version of the movie that this was that sort of part of a book series where your love triangle sort of falls apart, and this definitely showed where that break in the love that Katniss had for Peeta versus the love that she had for Gale, and how they sort of divided and everything like that. I was never a team Gale person. Even throughout the books, I just didn't feel the connection, except for in the second book. But once we got to the third book, I definitely didn't feel their sort of connection. It felt like Katniss was wanting to be with Gale in the beginning of the book just because Peeta was missing. But her need for Peeta and her heart for Peeta was more on the page in Mockingjay than I think in the movie. But the movies had set it up so that, you know, you knew that there was going to be a love triangle throughout the whole entire series. So I sort of see why they had to have that sort of divide within the story. And yeah, I like the parts that they kept for the movie. And I like the parts that they got rid of, the things that sort of lagged and dragged within the book, and the way that they combined it to make it into a movie. They did do 2 movies, so we're getting a lot more of the story. There's not a lot that was cut out of the book Mockingjay that wasn't put into one of the movies, period. I will watch part 2 here shortly and then get back with you guys. But if I am not mistaken, yeah, they didn't cut very much out of out from the book to the movie for part 1. It seems to be going, you know, the way it was. And the only reason I didn't stop reading and then watch the movie and then go back to reading is because I couldn't remember where it was broken down at. And I'm pretty sure it was in the middle of part 2 of the book when the part 1 of the movie ended. So it wouldn't even made any sense to sort of stop in the middle there anyway. So yeah, on to the next part, and I'll let you guys know what I think about the whole entire series, and then we will get into the next half of this video vlog, which was supposed to be doing the comparison of the Hunger Games and the Selection by Kiera Cass, because they are sort of compared to each other. That the Selection is a mashup of the Hunger Games series with the dystopian portion of it and having games and things like that, but also The Bachelor, which I'm not a fan of The Bachelor, but I kind of like those type of reality shows, so I am looking forward to jumping into that, because Love is Blind was good, and The Circle was good. All of those sort of really interesting charactered reality shows I am all about, so I kind of want to really get into the Selection. So that is what you guys have upcoming in the next clips and vlogs and things like that, and I hope you guys are enjoying this. So let me know down in the comment section how you're feeling, and you know, hopefully you're taking notes or writing comments as we go. I appreciate that, and I will see you guys in the next clip. Alrighty folks, so I just finished Mockingjay Part 2, and I am just flabbergasted at how many parallels there are within this movie, the messages behind the things that are said from the book and brought into this movie that are so relevant right now. Just right now, it's just so And there were moments within this movie that just key lines. I didn't like write them down or anything like that, but there are key lines that just spoke to me, just hit me, and was just so emotionally set in what we're going on right now. Like something along the lines of, you know, making sure that you vote, making sure that there is a voice, and, you know, the hidden agendas of people and the things they say out in the open, but then there's that secondary thing that they may be doing, whatever agenda they're pushing actually means. And just I loved that they took all of part 3, it seems like, and stretched it out into a 2-hour movie that really explored the work and explored the background meaning of what the Hunger Games could stand for. You know, right before Katniss was shot in the train scene, after they had broke down Area 2 or whatever, Section 2, no, District 2. And the train comes out, and then they have that one guy that ends up shooting Katniss, or threatens to shoot her. And she's like, we need to come together as one and fight against the one enemy, not each other. It's not each other that we're angry at. It's the systems that have been put in place, the things that we had to do to keep ourselves alive. And it's that one thing, the one person that we need to stand up and rise against. And just, and, you know, it's super hard to, like, put that in perspective of, you know, there's a system in place in the United States that is riddled with so many of the themes that we're seeing in this movie and in this book series. Racism being one of them. You could see throughout all the districts, you had your districts that didn't have any black people, the districts that were completely black people, and it was just, it just really spoke to me. And I'm glad that I took the time to revisit the books. I didn't think they were going to affect me the way that they did, or show me the parallels, and I'm probably gonna get raked over the coals for this, but I really don't care. This is how I felt about what I saw, what I ingested, and things like that. And by no means is this like real life. I understand that it's fiction, it's someone's work, but to have so much fortitude and foreshadowing to see that at some point in time there could be these parallels within our real world, and this fictional creation that's semi-based on the real world was just touching, just made me think, and it makes me think, and you know, opens my mind to something else, or, you know, makes me look into myself on what more could I do. And I think in one of my other clips I was talking about how, you know, not everyone is born an activist, and I completely stand by that. Not everyone is born an activist, and not everyone is meant to have this big platform of a stage to be up front and be the face of a revolution or a rebellion or an uprising. So, you know, if you have that in you, don't walk all over the ones that don't want to be up front, don't want to be the face. Because it takes all types, all people, to continue on in a revolution and to make things change, to be that push behind those faces and those figureheads, and also to keep those figureheads grounded, to know that they're doing the right thing. So alrighty, on to hopefully the fun part of this vlog. I'm gonna start, well, I have to read the prequel. What is it? The Songbird one, book, that one right there, that just released, which is sort of the reason I started this whole vlog in the first place. I wanted to read this one, but I wanted to revisit so that I remembered, it jogged my memory on why I was doing this. Yeah. So, excuse me. So I'm gonna go read that, and then I will be getting into the fun part of it, like I was saying, by reading the selection by Kiera Cass. And I'll give you some thoughts on those books too. So we'll see you in a little bit. So I just finished, dang, what's the name of that stinking freaking prequel? Oh my god. Where is it? The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the prequel to the Hunger Games, and it's all about President Snow and how he became President Snow, and why was this book so long, for one? Why was most of the information in it pretty much just the Hunger Games retold, and you get to see where all of his twisted craziness came from, because pretty much this is where he figured out how to do all that crazy shit that he ends up putting all these kids through. And the fact that he is poor and he doesn't want to be. Yeah, what? Let's see, what else can I say about this? I don't know that Suzanne Collins used the Atlantic slave trade as pretty much part of her, it feels like, as part of her inspiration for part of the 10th Hunger Games, traveling people in freaking chains and putting them in a zoo, treating them like animals, pretty much saying that, you know, the Capitol is the only people that know how to live. I don't know, tyrants and, Jesus, wow. I just don't know what to do with myself. And then you have this, like, sort of romance that ends up happening between freaking Snow and who ends up becoming the victor of the 10th Hunger Games, and she comes from District 12, and everything just comes into light on why he hated Katniss oh so much, why he hated her music, why, oh my god, why he hated District 12, just all of it. I just can't, oh my god. And then for the fact that it took a 16-hour audiobook, because I wasn't going to buy it. I wasn't going to buy this book. No, especially after I heard how much it was supposedly cost to get the hardback copy of it. No, sir, so I'm glad that I got it on Hoopla through my library the day that it released, and I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to this and do this project because I can get it for free. And so glad I didn't spend any money on it. Yeah, horrible. Why? Just why? I mean, it was interesting to see how twisted and crazy he was, but dude was like a white supremacist, and it just wasn't cool. Wasn't feeling the vibe of this, and you know, his bitterness and all his craziness, and he was a killing machine. Like, even as a young person, he was a killing machine. He let his ambition and his power, his need to be on top and be the reigning power like, make his moves. Wow. 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 Why? 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 Crazy. So I am officially moving into the fun part, I think, of this vlog, and I will start the selection by Kiera Cass, and hopefully the check-ins will be better from here on out, and fun and happy, I guess, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. We will see. Let's see how the selection compares to the Hunger Games. All right. Hey guys, so I just finished the selection by Kiera Cass. This is part of the Hunger Games project that I was doing, because this book seems to be compared with the Hunger Games, and wowzer, I see the connection. So the premise behind this series and this story is that you have this new America, which isn't called America anymore because we have been to war 4 different times now, and things just aren't the same. We now have a king, and it's called Ilia. And there is a caste system in which sort of a hierarchy of, you know, people and what you get to have and things like that, similar to the Hunger Games, where there's districts, and there's 8 different castes. So when the prince ends up becoming eligible to find a princess to marry, then all the caste, the ladies are of age women in Ilia, in the country, they all, you know, submit their names and everything like that. And there is a group that is picked, and that is called the selection. And these girls go live in the palace, and they go on dates with the prince to find out if they're compatible and things like that. And all along the way, if he feels that there's no compatibility, or if they act out against each other or get physical with each other, then they get sent home and things like that. So this is America's story. She is a cast number 5, which isn't at the bottom, but at the same time isn't sort of known to have wealth and things like that. She is very much into the arts, and she's a musician. She knows languages, and she's very upfront and forward, and I find myself completely intrigued into this story. I am not a Bachelor fan. I've said that throughout this throughout the clips and things like that, but I am very intrigued at this sort of play on The Bachelor, having the ladies there. And it's not like it's a sort of scripted sort of romance between them. They see the prince when he wants to see them, and then they have group events, and they go to breakfast together, they go to dinner together, and it doesn't feel forced, which is really weird, because you would think with this type of system you would have like some forced measure to it, but it seems very organic, and it really seems like he's trying to get to know them and is really taken by America's sort of forthrightness and forwardness in speaking her mind and things like that. I am not a fan of love triangles, but I am even intrigued by this whole love triangle that is going on with America and the cast 6 friend that she had before she entered the selection, who is now all of a sudden back in her life now that she's in the selection, and then her whole connection with the prince and everything like that. So I am immediately going to start reading The Elite, which is book number 2, to see what happens next. All right, folks, so I just finished The Elite by Kiera Cass, and we have now moved away from things that are similar to the Hunger Games. I am now completely drawn into this, and I get why you Bachelor and Bachelorette fans are so drawn into the show. I guess just a little. but I am definitely drawn into this story. Oh my goodness. So the only thing that is kind of driving me a little crazy is America and her indecision. I'm gonna need her to figure that shit out. Because there have been many a times that I wanted to jump into the book and be like, America, get yourself together. Oh my gosh. And then there's Maxim and Aspen that are doing things that are driving me crazy as well. But for the most part, I am so drawn into this. I will be reading the one probably here shortly. I have some things going on. I'm doing a live show tonight that you guys will probably have already seen. Will be up on my page, of course, so go check that out if you want a recap of that. I'll be discussing the book Insidious by Alethea Romig, and yeah, so I mean, by the time you guys see this vlog and everything like that, it'll be like a week or so at this rate, because I am devouring the selection series, and it probably will be out, this video will probably be put together and stuff like that and released soon, because those are so easy to have been so easy to read. Now there is this underlying feeling, I don't remember, I think these were written in like 2014, 2015, I'll put down here when the actual publishing date was, but yeah, the feeling of them, the talk of the unrest, and gosh, the separation of the world and what the world is now and how it could be, and the little revelations that we're having throughout the story are fitting for this time. And I kind of probably should have read this one first and been a little more lighthearted from the things that are going on in the world with it being on fire and stuff like that. But you know, it has a weird sort of, you know, feeling to it. It really does. And it feels kind of it has the tones of, you know, the unrest that we're going through right now in the country. But at the same time, it has a lightness that is allowing me to devour them, for one, and for two, just kind of reflect and say, hey, I might need to go read some more history books, or I might need to find alternate ways of ingesting the history so that I'm not just getting the whitewash version of history. And yeah, it's really intriguing, and it boggles my mind that both Suzanne Collins and Kiera Cass had the foreshadowing to sort of show us this world that we could be in. And in some ways, both books have this feeling of this is where we're going, and how about this fiction not happen? How about these fictional worlds not occur? Because they're not that great. They're not that great. Not at all. So once I get done with the one, I think is the next one, the third book in the series, I will get back with you guys to let you know how drawn in. And I believe there is this one and then one other one, one more book in the actual series itself. So then I'll be done with this project, and hopefully I can put it together and stuff like that. So I will see you guys in the next clip. All right, folks, I have finished the one by Kiera Cass, which is book number 3 in the selection series. We have gotten down to the finish line, and Prince Maxim has decided who his one is going to be, and there's some more secrets that are revealed, and I thought this was a entertaining portion of this series. I did enjoy the other books a little bit more, just because America's wishy-washiness between Maxim and Aspen was really kind of getting old, especially when she claimed that she had feelings for Maxim, but then she kept going back to Aspen, and I was just like, I'm kind of over that. I need you to go ahead and decide. But I did enjoy the new secrets that were revealed about the different rebels that were, you know, kind of evolving, and the differences between the rebels. And it is very reminiscent to you know, how their world became their world, using sort of the history of America from before, and you know, all of that. So I really enjoyed it. I am looking forward to the last 2 books, to see where they end up going throughout this, because it does seem like it's going to take a little bit of a different take on it. I do know that the 4th and the 5th book were released after some time had passed, after the 3rd book, after the epilogue and everything like that. So it should be fairly interesting to see how it connects back. I have gotten reports that these 2 books aren't all that great, but we will see. I'm actually going to stop this vlog here because I don't think the 4th and 5th book are going to be relevant to the making or the essence of what this vlog was supposed to be in the first place. It was supposed to compare the Hunger Games to the Selection, and though they both have similar themes to them, they are very different in their own right. And the Hunger Games definitely plays on the social issues and sort of foreshadowed what our current state of the world is. Now, I will say that the Selection sort of foreshadows something that could be happening in the future, and I hope it doesn't, because that would really suck to you know, have to be taken over by China and then be taken over by a king or a dictatorship or monarchy and things like that, and have you know, a selection to marry off the women, and you know, that history being erased, which is something that is very similar to what's happening now. So there's a lot of things that both series, The Selection and The Hunger Games, have brought to the table that are foreshadows for, you know, forethought of the authors of seeing a world that could be. Does this relate to their, you know, privilege that they've had, or their whitewashing of their history that they've had? I don't know. I can't say. I'm not a history buff, but you know, you can take these series as you will. Some of them are amazing. I was really drawn into The Selection, and I still have a deep love for The Hunger Games. So I am really excited and enjoyed doing this project oh so much. Like, really. I did enjoy this project. I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts throughout reading each one of them, watching the movies and everything like that. Let me know down in the comment section if I said anything relevant, because I don't even remember how many clips or what all I said in these clips or anything like that. But, you know, hey, maybe it's a conversation starter. Maybe. You never know. So let's talk about it down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so that you can help me improve my channel. There's a recommendation form down there as well. If you want to send recommendations my way, I might do something with those in the future. My Ko-fi and my PayPal pages or information is down there. So if you want to give donations, that'd be awesome as well, since I'm not working. Other than that, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.